Hello and welcome to ACS Golf, and this week's review I'm going to be looking at this. The Great Big Bertha Epic Sub-Zero. Really excited to be reviewing this club for you guys from 2017. And the main reason I wanted to pick this up is because there's a few drivers that I think over the years have really changed the game for that respective brand. So when you think about Mizuno this year with their Cortex chamber, their ball speed's right up there now with the big boys, and they're getting the same distance, relatively the same distance. I think this year actually the longest driver is a Mizuno player on tour. So, game changer for them this year. Obviously, Ping this year in their G430 LST have put carbon fiber in their drive for the first time. Then you could go and say, well, TaylorMade, the M2 was sort of a big game changer for them back in the day. Cobra, the F9, when they brought that in, that was again a big game changer. They got a lot of ball speed, a lot of distance. They sort of progressed from there. Titleist, the TS range as well, to be honest, that was a big step up. And then for Callaway, it was this in 2017. And the reason for this was the jailbreak technology. That was the big game changer for Callaway. It was bringing in this jailbreak technology. So, as always, let's have a closer look at this beauty. Then let's come back in. I'll talk through all the technology in there. Then we'll go down to the driving range, throw some figures at you, and then we'll come back here for the ACS Golf Scale. Okay, let's have a closer look at the club. So there you go. I still think that's a great looking club, to be honest. I don't think that's aged that badly, even though it is a 2017 club. I mean, obviously you can see the carbon fiber crown. I do like the green sort of stripes on the back there. I think the bottom looks really cool with the carbon fiber and that sort of cage as well. And then obviously I like the way they detail. It's got the name there, Sub-Zero there. Very cool, good looking club. Now, if we go into the technology, so jailbreak technology sees two titanium rods connecting the crown to the sole behind the face, which Callaway says stiffens up the head for faster ball speed. Now, this was the first year, as I mentioned before, they brought in this jailbreak technology, which was a massive game changer for Callaway. Made this like the fastest driver at the time. I think Rory McIlroy, even at the time, put this in the bag, even though he wasn't contracted to Callaway, because it was so far ahead of everything else that came out at the time. And I believe they came by accident. I was reading an article yesterday with a previous model. They accidentally made a connection to it and then suddenly realized, actually, that works really well. They've kept that jailbreak technology now. It's still there, still in all their clubs. I think they now use their AI to sort of improve it slightly, but it's still there. I think it's even in their hybrids, their new hybrids. I'm not too sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it is. And so it was a massive game changer for them that really did change Callaway drivers and sort of at the time put them way ahead of everyone else. Now, moving on to more technology, we got an exo cage body structure. There you go, which is paired with a carbon crown and sole. There you go, making it possible to position the CG inline with a neutral axis to control spin. Perfect. This is, Sub-Zero is their low spinning model. And then you got a 12 gram and 2 gram sole weight. So 2 gram there and then a 12 gram there. This is actually an aftermarket 12 grams because this is the problem with buying secondhand clubs. Sometimes they've obviously lost the original, but that's absolutely fine. They did check, it is 12 grams. That can be interchanged to lower spin or increase launch and MOI. So with the 12 gram at the back, which is there at the moment, that obviously increases forgiveness, increases that MOI, and obviously helps with the launch because the weight to the back, standard procedure when it comes down to drivers. And then with that 12 gram right at the front there, that lowers the spin, lowers the forgiveness as well. So be wary of that, but makes it into this big low spinner bomber. And then you've also got a step crown there, which they say improves aerodynamics for quicker club head speeds. I don't really know how much that actually affected it. See it there. I mean, Ping obviously had them as well for a time being. But it's only really for faster ball speed. So if you're not swinging 110 plus, you're probably not going to notice a difference then. But anyway, so there's all the technology in here. So really quite jam-packed. And what I really like about it is the fact that you can change this into a more forgiving driver, or move the weight to the front and make it that sort of low spin bomber, which is a really nice option to have, you know, with something with like the LSDR, for example, which was a low spinner from TaylorMade. You just had the weight at the front. So you couldn't change it. They sort of went for this driver and went, all right, well, this is for your faster ball speed people out there, your better players. But hold on, let's also make it accessible to your more average golfer by being able to swap around that weight to give you more forgiveness. So yeah, quite a cool idea there. And a lot of clubs, you know, still do that nowadays, but at the time that was very cool. Now, going into, obviously, when it comes down to shaft, obviously you've still got the Callaway connector there, where you can increase it by 2 degrees or decrease it by 1 degree. And it'll obviously then set up for a draw as well if you've got an issue with a slice. So loads of technology, really cool. Now let's get down to the range. I'm going to throw some figures at you, and then we'll get back here for the ACS golf scale, and I'll let you know overall what I think about this driver. Okay, see you in a bit.
So here I am down the range, and unfortunately the ball track only actually picked up 2 shots, this one and the next one, so you're going to see me hit a few balls without actually any shot traces on it. But anyway, let's jump straight into those figures. And actually, before I do that, just to say how I had the club set up, I had it set up at 11 degrees, so close to my 12 degrees. I have my TaylorMade Stealth 2, and also I did have the heavy 12 gram weight at the front for low spin to really try and get that distance. So figures now, on average, real carry was 207 yards, total distance was 244 yards, ball speed was a very impressive 154 miles per hour, launch angle was 10 and height 49. So for me, I was getting great ball speed. I mean, the fastest I had was 156. But just a little bit shy of that 250 that I wanted, and that's really just down to the spin and my launch angle not being very good. You know, if I was getting that launch angle up to like 14 and getting the height, then I would get the distance as well. So that is really just down to me rather than the club. I mean, the longest I had was 246 yards. I was really happy with that. And then I had another one which was 244, which I sort of did get the launch angle right on. That was 14 degrees and got a high 80. So I had a really good carry on around 230 yards. Just didn't quite have the total distance in that shot.
So there you go, there's some figures there. Now, as I mentioned before, obviously I did set this up for that low spin to really see what the distance is. When I did move it to the back, I will say straight away, having the weight in the back changed the ball flight a bit. It was coming out a lot higher, and also did increase the forgiveness. I definitely noticed that. But we'll go further into that as we go for the ACS golf scale. So first things first, let's get into the ACS golf scale. Remember, if you're new to the channel, 5 is the best, 1 is the worst. Okay, so first things first, distance. Now, on average, I expect 250. I've said this before, for me, I want my drive to be going up to that 250 mark. Anything above it is fantastic. Anything below it is okay, as long as it's above that 240. My sort of attack handle is pretty horrible, to be honest. I don't really get the ball up in the air. You know, launch angles, you sort of want maybe, I don't know, 13, 14 degrees. I'm lucky if I get it over 10 when it comes down to my driver, which is very much down to me. Now, with a club like this, when it's a low spinner, you need a good launch angle, because you're not going to create the spin to get that ball in the air. So you need that good launch angle, which I didn't have. So if you go by the distance on average, I've already mentioned, was 244 total distance, you go, well, okay, that's below your average, so your score must be quite low. But I'm taking into account the fact that for me, this isn't the right driver possibly, unless I change my angle of swing, which I can do, but I wanted to keep it consistent with the way I've been swinging and the way I normally swing for all drivers that I've tested for you guys, and the way I play on the course. I can increase my angle, but like a lot of things, if I do that, it tends to go all over the place. I get a lot more distance, well, about 15 yards, probably an average distance, but it goes all over the place. I'd rather do what I'm doing at the moment, keep it on the fairway, and use maybe one iron longer to get in. But So there you go. So 244 yards. Yes, it's short. The longest I had was 246, so 4 yards short. But I'm not necessarily looking at that in this club. I'm going to be looking at that ball speed. And ball speed on average was 154 miles per hour. Normally, I'm sort of around that 150 mark. So 154 miles per hour, this was on average, with the fastest being 156 miles per hour. So this thing is, and this is with, say, like I said, the weight at the front, so a low spinner there. So this thing is absolutely insane when it comes down to ball speed. It is rapid, which means if I could get the right launch angle, this thing would fly, absolutely fly. So I've given it, distance wise, a 4.5 out of 5. This is an absolute rocket. I mean, you're seeing other people like sort of do tests. Rick Shields did one 2 years ago when he put this Sub-Zero up against the Sub-Zero Epic. I think it was Epic Speed or something like that, and it lost 3 yards against it. 3 yards over, I think it was 5 years. And then I think Golf Monthly did a review and said again, put it against the Cobra LS this year. And they're like, oh, well, we lost 8 yards, but it's only 8 yards from 2017. But they annoyed me because they didn't use this one. They used the normal Callaway Great Big Bertha Epic, so not the Sub-Zero. So they didn't actually use the longest driver of the time. So I don't know why they did that. And I think if they used this, they probably would have got a better result. So for me, 4.5 out of 5. This is an absolute beast of a driver, but you need the good launch angle. If it's going to be such as myself, I think there's better clubs out there which is going to have more spin, which, yes, high spin with the drive you don't necessarily want, but with my launch angle, it just helps the ball get in the air. And for my swing, actually gives me more distance. So for this, I will have to say, great, yeah, 4.5 out of 5. There's nothing really else to say. 4.5 out of 5, I think is really good, but make sure you've got that good attack angle to really get the maximum distance out of this. Or to be honest, because it's low spin, you will suffer. Like I said, when I did swap the weights around, as the setting is back there at the moment, I did see the ball speed actually drop a little bit, but again, the forgiveness came up. So I wasn't really, on average, probably wasn't losing that much distance, even though my longest ones were a bit shorter. So there you go. Now, on to feel. So feel as a Callaway with this gel brake felt pretty nice. 3.5 out of 5, felt solid, felt pretty powerful. In the middle, I knew relatively where I sort of missed my shots, which is not a bad thing at all. So overall, 3.5 out of 5. Nothing really to report. Pretty nice, as you would expect from a Callaway premium driver. Looks, I've given this a very nice 4 out of 5. I think this is a beautiful club. I really do. I do like, again, I said like the greens and everything like that. I like sort of the marker there as well, the alignment aid. I think it looks nice on the bottom as well. So 4 out of 5, very good looking club. Happy with it. Now on to forgiveness. So forgiveness, I've given this a 3. And the reason I've given it a 3 is I've averaged it out. So if you have the weight on the back, you're probably looking at 3.5, maybe even a 4 for forgiveness. I think a 4 is actually a push, but a 3.5 in forgiveness, because it does increase that forgiveness. And it helps you perform. The sort of the bad hits weren't as bad with that weight at the back, because it also helps increase the spin, which of course more spin equals more forgiveness generally. Now with the weight at the front, obviously you're lowering the spin. The MOI is, quite far down. You haven't got the weight at the back anymore, and the forgiveness, it becomes that low spin bomber, and the forgiveness isn't really there. It's not bad, but it's not really there. So therefore, forgiveness with the weight in the front probably be 2.5, maybe even a 2. So I've averaged it out for a 3. So be aware, if you want to have the weight at the front of this club, if you want that low spinner bomb, make sure that you can hit a driver pretty well, because if not, you're going to suffer. If you just want it because you think it's really cool and maybe something to progress in, it's a good idea, really. Pick this up, you can put the weight at the back. And when you start increasing your ball speed, becoming a better player, then you can move to the front and then you've got your low spinner. You know, you don't have to go out and buy 2 clubs. Then yeah, the forgiveness is pretty good. Maybe not as good as modern day ones, but pretty good. So there you go. Now, finally on to the main sticking point with this driver, and it upsets me. There is a sticking point with it because it is such a legendary thing, and it's the price. So the price of this, really, I've given it a 2 out of 5, and there's a few reasons for this. Now, on eBay, you can pick it up for about £105, so $132, £100, $125. If you're lucky, you can get it under £80 and under $100 if you're lucky, because a lot of time you will struggle for that, or you will find one where there are issues with it, because with this driver, with that carbon fiber, and obviously it is an old one, 2016, there's a lot that I'm seeing on eBay where there's cracks in it, where they've been worn down and there's cracks here, or there's a scuff here, and you know, the moment that happens, integrity of the driver is ruined. How well does it perform compared to another one? It's not going to perform the same. So, you know, it's difficult to find one now in this sort of condition, and I'm really lucky to find one this good, to be fair. And I think I paid £100 for it. The main reason I paid £100 for it is because it was a soft regular shaft, which for me actually probably helps with this driver because it just gives me that little bit more flex. But there you go. Interesting. So be aware of that. Now, and then even worse, which is why I'm giving it 2 out of 5, by the way, 2 out of 5. Even worse than that, if you go to secondhand golf shops such as Golf Dealer over here in the UK, you know, they're selling just under £150. So that's just under $190. £150 for 2017 club. You know, I was looking into it, and for that, you could pick up newer Sub-Zero versions. I think the Epic Flash Sub-Zero, that was the club that I mentioned earlier from Rick Shields. It was the Epic Flash it was testing against this. You know, in an extra hand, you know, in a second-hand store for £10, you know, you can get the Epic Speed as well, which is 2021. So, you know, you can get the Epic Flash, same sort of price, and the Epic Speed. I correct myself again, it was the Epic Speed. Why did Callaway bring out so many Epic drivers? It was the Epic Speed because it's a 2021 one, because I remember it's during COVID that he did this video. So 2021 Epic Speed he did against there. And the Epic Speed Sub-Zero only going 3 yards on that. So there we go. Okay. Oh, finally got there. So the Epic Speed, you know, an extra £10. And that's 2021 club. So 2 years old rather than being, well, 6 years old. It's insane. You know, and then I saw the Epic Flash actually, which is the one from 2019 Sub-Zero, £130 on there. Hold on, that's a club that's 2 years newer. Well, let's be honest, same technology. They're not going to make them worse. The whole point is improve them every year. I mean, rarely you can't really improve drivers that much anymore anyway, but that's the whole point. What? Mad. And then, you know, you can look at second-hand models, and you get tailor-made M3s, M2s, 2018, 2017 for the same price. You can get Cobras for the same price. You can look at second-hand market. You know, if you're going to pick that up for 150 quid, probably get Cobra LTDX off eBay for around the 150, 170 sort of mark. Crazy money for a club from 2017. It's iconic. A lot of people love it, and that's why a lot of people want it, and that's why the price is staying up. But for me, if you're not really too fussed and you're not thinking, you know, you're not picking this up because, you know, it's Great Big Bertha, it was iconic, etc. You're picking up because you want one of the best drivers ever produced, then I think you can save yourself a bit of money and go for a new model, which is weird to say, but I do. So I'm giving it 2 out of 10, 2 out of 5, 2 out of 5. So there you go. There is my review of the Callaway Great Big Bertha Epic Sub-Zero. Great driver. Shame about the second-hand price, but overall an amazing driver, to be fair. But you need to make sure that you have the right attack angle to get the best from it. If you do not, such as myself, it might be a little bit shorter than the current driver you use in the bag. So be aware of that. Now, remember, if you like this video, do give it a like. Hit the subscribe button for the channel if you haven't already subscribed. and comment down below, you know, have you played the Great Big Bertha Epic Sub-Zero? Or the other lines don't have to be the Sub-Zero, it can be their normal ones, etc. Or do you play any Callaway drivers? Tell me what you think about them, especially if the fact you played them before the jailbreak technology, and then what happened when you played them afterwards. So there you go. Oh, and before I go, I've got an Instagram channel set up, guys, by the way, ACS Golf. Go and have a look on that, give that a follow as well. I'm going to be using it just to show you insights of clubs that I have coming up to review for you guys, and maybe a few course shots as well while I'm out there on the golf course. Okay, so do give that a follow as well, so you stay up to date with all that's happening with ACS Golf. Okay, great to see you guys, and I'll catch you soon for the next ACS Golf review.